Hi Libra, Sun, Moon and Rising, welcome to Ethernal Realms. We will get into your April reading. So first let's talk a little bit about the astrology. We have a solar eclipse, a new moon solar eclipse taking place at the very last degrees of Aries, and this is happening on the 20th or the 21st of the month, depending on where you live. Also the same day the moon quickly moves into Taurus, and so does the sun, and we have a brand new zodiac season, Taurus season. So because it's happening at the cusp, this has a little bit of an extra oomph to this particular eclipse here, and it will play out in the coming 4 to 6 months. Usually what I've observed from my personal experiences, it usually peaks around the 4th month, but you know, everyone has different sensitivities to the transit, so you might feel a little bit before that or a little bit afterwards, but by the time we hit 6 months we are done with the eclipse energies. Things come about. Okay, now then I will talk a lot more about this in a separate video, by the way. I will make a Libra specific reading for you guys for this particular eclipse to see what exactly the effects are, what you can expect and how you can go along with that. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I won't talk too much about it in this particular one. Also, another thing to note is that Mercury is going to go retrograde for the first time in 2023, and it is taking place on the 21st of the month, and it's going retrograde in the sign of Taurus. Okay, so that is going to be for you the 8th house. Taurus, right? And Aries is in your 7th house, so you're definitely being like very directly impacted by this, more specifically in your relationships, your one-to-one connections. So it can even be business partnerships or very close friendships where you kind of reconnect one-to-one and have like a little bit of a deeper conversation than a group setting. So those people can come into focus here. There's a lot to gain from them. They could have some important pieces of information, or they could be having a lot of important events taking place in their lives, and you get to know about it. And because the South Node will quickly move into your zodiac in like a month or so, you will be in a position to gather a lot from other resources, so through the connections you build. And also there would be, it's as though you have the advice, you are in the observer position, and you can give a lot of information from your side. So it's going to be a big shift for you guys because it's the 1st and the 7th house, usually very important. Last year we had Scorpio, Taurus, eclipse cycles, as in the North and the South nodes were in Taurus and Scorpio. I had that, and that was my 1st and 7th house. So it was a pretty pivotal time. The types of people I connected with were different, and also I learned so much about myself by observing other people. So yeah, it's a really good time for getting an upgrade, and so I'm really excited for you guys. Yes, okay, now moving back to Mercury being retrograde, we don't buy something very expensive, or we don't make permanent changes, and we don't sign any contracts. Travel plans that you have around this time, expect some changes, and you can like kind of put a little bit more gap in your planning. So instead of keeping it like a really tight deadlines, kind of keep a gray area of between 10 to 10:30 or something like that, so that you don't feel pressured and someone else is not pressuring you in any way, and you can just kind of get there when you get there, basically. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Usually if we take these bigger steps in the retrograde period, the moment Mercury goes direct again, we start like rethinking, and it doesn't make sense anymore. The thing is, when the mind, the planet of the mind and intellect, reasoning and logic is retrograde, it means that it's not really thinking very straight. It's like if you had to make decisions when you're asleep, like that's not, you're not going to make the best choices because you're not looking at everything at the same time, right? When Mercury is direct and it's like going full speed, it's like you've had your coffee, or you've like washed your face, you're ready to go, you're ready at work, things like that. It's kind of that type of dynamic that happens with Mercury. So yes, good things to keep in mind. The shadow period of the retrograde is already going to start on the 7th of the month, and slowly we will feel a little bit more foggy or a little bit more drained in terms of our decision making as the second week rolls in, and then the closer we get to the retrograde period, the more, you know, we want to just take it easy, relax, go on a vacation or something like that. Okay, going back, let's see. Okay, So Mercury is going into Taurus from Aries on the 3rd of the month. All right, so 3rd Mercury enters Taurus, 7th it goes into shadow period, and 21st it goes into retrograde. Okay, so 3 major Mercury events taking place here. So when Mercury enters Taurus, we are more likely to make commitments and stronger plans. So that being in your 8th house, you might have let's invest in something type of mentality. You might be thinking about your long-term plans and loans, investments, other options you have with like shared resources, like if you're sharing an apartment or you share your finances with your partner, things like that. So you're contemplating on how to cultivate more of that, and also discussing your priorities. If like money is going off in many different directions, and you might be kind of thinking about consolidating everything here, and you would be having some conversations regarding that. Okay, also you will be looking at what you value, and accordingly you might shift things. So it doesn't even have to be scattered in the first place. You might be just redirecting your focus, but it's best to do the redirection action itself after Mercury goes direct again, and that'll be in May. Okay, so this time is a very good time to like get to know things, have the conversation started, and then think about it, research, write about it, just see what you find, learn from other people and their past experiences if that's possible for you, and so on. All right, now on the 6th of the month, we have a full moon in your zodiac. So the moon is in your sign and sun is in Aries in your partnership house. So there can be some illumination and clarity that comes through for you through other people, or it can be you in the position of giving some guidance. But the connection aspect of things is very loud and clear. For people who want to have a relationship, who are looking for close friends, or in a romantic situation, this can be a very nice time of increasing your visibility. You might have a better chance of being found, of course, but also being understood, because the same day we have Mercury conjoining with the North Node, and that is in Taurus. So there is a good chance of like long range plans or like commitment type topics. You might get a lot more intimate with the person you're already connecting with, or there is a good chance of having a deep conversation or a meaningful conversation with someone that you are meeting, and you can feel as though, whoa, like I was not expecting that. It's a lot more grounded and practical than what I was expecting from the dating scene or something. Okay, now the 11th of the month, we have Venus going into Gemini. Venus is your ruler, and in Gemini, it is benefiting you quite a bit because it's a fellow air sign. So you might be, having a lot of wonderful conversations. You have a very positive mindset. You see a lot of hope. There can be some new people joining in into your community, your workspace, good relationships with siblings. Your ideas are just flowing, and you're very happy with just your mindset and things that you have going on. There can be a tendency of being a little bit busy, but like I said, because it's a beneficial aspect to you, you're enjoying this type of dynamism and busyness in your life. Okay, there are a couple of more aspects taking place throughout the month. I will not get into all of them here, but I will post about them in my community page. So if you're interested, you can subscribe, hit the bell, and you will be notified when the post is up. And the same goes for the solar eclipse readings. If you're interested, you can find that. I will post them later in April. Okay, so we have the full moon coming up first as a major theme with completion. So this is a long-term situation going on for you. I don't know why I said that. Just came out. I didn't say that for any other zodiac, but the full moon happening on the 6th is going to set the tone for longer than April, is something I get. Okay, so the commitments that you have, the promises that you make on this day, either to yourself or someone else, and also about, the way you want to interact with other people too, that has longer rollover period. So it starts off, it gathers steam, and then it keeps on gathering steam. Okay, you will see that you keep those promises. You're more likely to do that, or you take the subsequent steps to make something happen here, and it brings you a lot of joy. It just is a flash of clarity. Full moons come with that illumination, right? It's the brightest night, and nights are not really supposed to be very clear and bright, but even without like street lights, if you have a very clear sky and you have the full moon, that you don't need any other light. It can be that your intuition is as well really high here, so the intuitions you get in this time, you're more likely to follow through with, or it makes sense to you a lot more. It's not as foggy, is what I'm getting. So you're going to use this clarity to your advantage and to your benefit. And it's going to make you feel really good just in general, right? So, I mean, that's already awesome. Okay. So the first major highlight we have here is excitement, which is so fabulous. And then we have happiness as the second major highlight. Oh, there you go. The happiness, fulfillment. I was more getting fulfillment because, yeah, the emotions kind of swell up and rise during the full moon. Whatever our mood is, we're more likely to notice our emotions in this time. So what you're feeling here is happiness throughout the month. And like I said, the nodes are going to shift into the Aries Libra axis, and it feels as though this full moon is sort of an activation for you guys and Aries as well. Okay, so something might come to a head in this time, and you kind of follow through with that for the coming 6 months till a year. So that's nice. We're already seeing awesome stuff here. All right, we have dog with barking, advice from a friend. Okay, so yeah, you might be connecting with some people who have a lot to offer or a lot to give in your life. This can again be romantic relationships, but also like friendly advice, or some advisors or consultants you might be in touch with who can give you some, financial advice that is just going to make you feel a lot more relieved and lighter. You can trust where your money is going. You can trust the commitments you're keeping. All right, so you're like very thankful for what is happening. All right, next we have nobility and self-esteem. Yes, very nice. And we have grace and sweetness. Okay, so there can be some healing coming through, and it's done so in a very calm and pleasant manner. Like the grace and sweetness is just, it's like Venus actually. Okay, that's what I'm constantly looking at in the chart, in the calendar that I have here. Venus is that sweet energy, just makes your life a little bit prettier. It makes it more beautiful. It makes it feel nice and comfy, relaxing to be in. You're not stressed about things. You're enjoying what is, things like that. So around the 11th, I think you're going to feel a lot more of this, but it already starts gathering steam from the 6th of the month. Now, nobility and self-esteem can be talking about you feeling very confident about yourself. I think you are also gaining more self-esteem. Other people might be validating you more in this time. Like I said, you might be a lot more visible in this full moon period. And this can be just in general. When we have the first and 7th houses, like people in general, okay? Anyone that you interact with. It can even be. So it can be a career connection where you have a one-to-one conversation, let's say with your bosses or one other teammate, things like that. So you're being recognized for your efforts. It can be in the form of a compliment or more. We will see the tarot cards, what we get here. But you're feeling good about yourself just in general. There is a sense of purity too. Yeah, that's the thing I was trying to get at. There's purity and innocence. You know what is truly meaningful and heartwarming for you, and you want to prioritize those things. At least you're focusing on those things a lot more, and it's kind of leading to a sort of manifestation for the future. So even if you don't do all the writing bit or scripting or any of that, you're still likely to benefit from this particular month. One thing I forgot to mention with Venus in Gemini is that you are attracted to intellectual conversations, or learning about facts, reading things, writing about things, having lighthearted conversations, but still it's informative. Things like that could be very attractive to you if you're looking for some partnership here. And even if you are already in a partnership, you're more attracted to having more intellectual conversations around this time. You and your partner could also take up something together, learn something together as well. I'm also getting it's bigger topics, but you're kind of drilling down to the details on that. So it could be you're talking about big questions of so what's your view on equality, let's say? What's your view on information nowadays? But it's a broad scale thing, but you're kind of trimming it down to your experiences and the knowledge you get from it, basically. Okay. We have the Eight of Pentacles coming through. This is about, I'm hearing on track. Then we have the Empress. This is very Venusian, which is also Libra and Taurus connected. We have the King of Wands. You know, because Mercury is in Taurus, which is a Venus-ruled sign, and Venus is helping you out, I think the retrograde phase is going to be better for you than many other zodiacs. Yeah. Okay, then we have the Eight of Swords. Anomaly, we're going to clarify that one. And we have the Emperor. Oh, we have the Empress and the Emperor. Wow, okay. That's nice. I always like to see counterpart vibes. I'm going to go for a clarifier here. Let me just take off the crystals and... Alright, so can we please clarify the Eight of Swords for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the month of April, please? Okay, we have the Five of Wands. All right, so there can be some type of tension. Hang on, let me get that. All right, so we have the Fool and the Five of Wands clarifying the Eight of Swords. Okay, let's start from the start. You have some sort of responsibility here, or you're taking on some type of responsibility on yourself. It can be that you want to work out every day, or you want to eat healthy every day, you want to read a chapter every day, some sort of routine type of responsibility you are taking here. And the Empress here indicates that you're enjoying the particular thing. So it's not like unnecessary obligations that are being put on you. So you're not feeling, you know, very burdened about it. You're just going about your day, making a certain habit stick. And like I said, any habit or commitment that you make around this time, you're likely to stick to it here. So far so good. Then the Empress and the Emperor here talks about having that abundance and fertility vibes going on. You have good intuition, you're making solid promises, you're very clear about what you are saying exactly. All right. So that is a really good thing in terms of anyone that you want to collaborate or communicate with, because clear intention is very important first and foremost. You can be partnering up with someone here. Again, can't talk about your relationships. You might be thinking about like your future together, or you know, how you can be a little bit more stable in this time. You can also be expressing how you feel about one another. The King of Wands indicates that there's a lot of passion. So yes, in terms of whether you're looking for a relationship or you already have one, it looks as though it's flourishing, it's growing, and so on. You might also be a little bit busy at work, or with the commitments you already have, because King of Wands and the Emperor talks about a leadership position. There's a sense of authority coming through here, so you might be in charge of something. If this is something that is absolutely brand new, you might be a little bit conflicted as to how you would do that. Okay, maybe you just don't know. It's a very strange thing for you. And that's what the Eight of Swords seems like to me so far. We'll see a little bit more on this. But if you don't know what you are getting into, it can feel a little bit, not scary, but like you're kind of nervous and you're like, I don't know, and it's not really my strength, you know, it's not really my forte, but I'm just gonna give it a shot. Let's see what happens. But I'm kind of shooting in the dark here, you know, it's that kind of vibe. But the Fool here indicates that you have trust in, just in general, you just have trust that even if you don't know things, you're gonna figure it out. Okay, let's figure it out on the way. That's the vibe here. So trust that ability, and I think you will, because of the King and the Emperor. They're very sure of themselves. If you can't trust the situation, trust yourself. That's it, right? If you can't trust what's to come, no problem. You know, we can't know every single thing, every single detail just cannot be known. It's just the way it is. So the best we can do in such a situation is just believe in ourselves and our ability to deal with whatever comes, because we have, you know, at some point we went through something that we thought we would just never get through. And yet here we are, still thriving, still living, still moving on. and we just keep on going. That's just our nature. We're built to be able to deal with whatever comes at us. So this can be a situation of the past as well. The Eight of Swords and clarified by the Five of Wands. Some conflicts, mental conflicts you have been having in the past. You're breaking through and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to think about it anymore. What's the point? It just keeps on circulating in my mind anyway, so I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. Okay, so it's a little bit experimental to like step outside of what you have known so far, but you're kind of pushing yourself to move out of stagnancy. Okay, and this can be like step outside of your comfort zone, talk to new types of people, discover new mindsets, or learn about new things. It can be uncomfortable in like various measures for different people, to take that as it resonates, but either way, you're like stepping out of the norm, and it's really exciting for you, but then it's also a little bit scary. You might not have, with the Fool, you know, it's kind of going by faith and intuition. Okay, the exact path is not clear. It doesn't have a logical idea of how you can execute something. So you can be thinking of like investing in a particular way, but you have like no idea about it. Okay, so that would mean that you're connecting with someone who's an expert in that field, and you just have to trust, right? That's kind of the best you can do here. So because we have two kings here, you can be connecting with someone who's an expert in their field, with the King of Wands here. They have a lot of experience. They're very charming and welcoming, very inviting as well. I feel you're just completely vibing with this person. But yeah, again, you kind of have to trust your own intuition as well. You can't just take everybody's word for it. Ultimately, they're trying to make money as well, right? So you're kind of, I think, thinking about all of these things, but however much logic you put into the situation, you can't yet figure things out. It can be figured out only if the journey has begun first, okay? So staying in a victim mindset or believing in the negative mindset from like past experiences or just habitual conditioning, whatever it is, it's just not the best foot forward. Given how much potential you have here, I don't think you're like holding yourself back for very long. It's very normal and natural to, you know, have some doubts before you like take a huge leap forward. Of course, you know, take your time, trust your discernment, all of that, of course. But ultimately, you're going forward with something that you know you trust, okay? Even if it's still a little bit of a leap ahead, you're still trusting the situation. And that goes for like you're given a new obligation or a new duty at work. You're very excited for the up level, but at the same time, you're like, I'm not very experienced in this, and I'm kind of crossing over from what I'm used to doing. But, you know, I can figure it out. I thought I couldn't do the previous task, but here I am. I'm already doing so good, you know, stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, so there might be that situation where you're putting in a little bit more time and effort into something, but you know that it is going to bring in a lot more stability, security for yourself and anyone else who is partnering up with you at this time for the long haul. Like I said, whatever energy is here for you in April, it's not getting over in April. It's not like a 2-day thing. I think it definitely has a longer term impact for you guys. I really, really like the Empress. I keep looking at her, so I think you're going to feel very, very fulfilled. You're also very grateful. If you're in some type of creative field here, you're taking charge of things, you're putting in the effort, you're putting in the faith, you're putting in all of the work, and you're making it happen. You're presenting yourself well, you're showcasing your skills, your products, whatever it is, in a very convincing manner. Okay, and I think people also find you charming, but the things that you are doing here, or the thing that you're trying in this particular month, you might not be very well versed in, but someone else might be in your life. We see the advice from a friend, right? So again, an advisor, a close friend, a consultant, with whatever resonates for you. They definitely have the advice here. So try to do yourself a little bit of a favor and try to not figure out everything by yourself. Ask someone else. See what you get. Again, it might be that you don't have every single information because it's like unique for everyone or something, you know, it might work, might not work, but at least you have a little bit of a ballpark idea that gives you more confidence in what you're trying to do here, or what is coming towards you and you have to go towards, whichever way it applies for you. There is absolutely a rise in your recognition and prominence. Empress, Emperor, very hard to ignore, right? And also the King of Wands, like very charismatic and just shining and very bright whenever they enter a room. This signifies Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, and the Emperor signifies Aries. The Empress, like I said, Venus, so that would be Taurus and Libra. So these zodiacs coming around here, that you could have some people in your life with these zodiacs who are going to be pivotal for you in this time, and you take their advice on board and you apply it bit by bit, and you see that you figure things out here. With the rise in prominence, you could be in the place of advising or guiding, and again, you're taking on some new project or some new inspiration and idea comes to you, which is not yet fully formed, and it's up to you to go forward with it, take the leadership role and figure things out over here. Now, for you, Libra, leadership is not really associated with the zodiac description, but because it's in your 7th house, it's very much a part of you. That's the part of you that other people first notice. If you ask like someone to describe you after like meeting you once or twice and talking to you comfortably, you will see that they describe you as very confident, and you're very bright and cheery and inviting and things like that. Okay, so while you yourself might not associate with the Aries qualities, other people see it, which means it is a part of you. So this here, the 8 of Swords, 5 of Wands, the Fool, can indicate that you're giving yourself lesser credit than you deserve, okay? Or you are not seeing your full capacity and potential, so you're stuck in a previous mindset because you've not noticed the new vision yet. A new version is about to emerge here with this and the eclipses. This is a little bit of a long-term interpretation, but a new version coming through here. And this is kind of the drum roll feeling I get with the 6th of April with the full moon there. Okay, but you're discovering a lot more of what you can do. And 5 of Wands, it's reminding me of squares. So look out for the square aspects in this month. I'll not talk about them here. It will be there on my community page. But those days, squares are usually associated with like conflicts or breakthroughs. Okay, breakdowns or breakthroughs. Kind of the tower vibe, but a little bit less spontaneous. Okay, so like disagreements or arguments could be a part of this, but then solutions coming from those disagreements is as well a part of squares. So look out for those aspects through the month, because there can be some very important conversations you have, some important thought patterns you have going on, which if you follow through with it a little bit and not keep circulating in the same viewpoint, follow through with it, kind of ask like different perspectives, different questions to yourself, or make someone else ask you those things, or you ask them, depending on which side of the equation you're in, of course. That is going to give you a lot of clarity for the times to come. Okay, so let's do your astro dice, Libras, please, for the month of April. We have we have Libra coming through. We have the Sun, and we have 11th house here. 11th and 12th kind of cusp was visible there. So Sun in Libra is like you are again shining. You're very visible. If you have an audience, then you are shining even in that situation. A lot of your friends could be contacting you, even the ones you're not one-to-one connected with, just general acquaintances or friend groups in general. They could be asking how you're doing, what's up, and let's meet, let's catch up. Things like that could happen here. Also, your visions and your hopes could be becoming more in alignment with where you are now, right? So it's like I said, you're a newer version, and you're constantly developing into a newer version of you. So this is the time where you like recognize the distance you've come so far in your own personal development. I'm not saying a nostalgic feeling, but I think you're recognizing the place you are now. So based on that, you're making more authentic attunements to the dreams and aspirations you have for the future. Okay? I think you're doing this very authentically as well. With Libra, when I'm seeing this, I'm hearing honesty for some reason. That's also not very associated with Libra as a keyword, but I'm hearing authentic, understanding, It's as though you're connecting with the other half within yourself as well. If you're not resonating with the partnership, you don't want to work with someone else, and you're more of a solo person, or you're not in a relationship, or you don't even want a relationship at this time, this is indicating that you have close friends who are helping you out and supporting you, that's for sure. And apart from that, you're focused on bringing yourself more in alignment with your dreams and aspirations, because that's really important to you. Whatever it is that you love and adore doing, you're bringing that into focus and making sure it happens for you. Okay, so that's what I have for you, Libras. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. Let me know your thoughts, and like I said, for the solar eclipse reading, wait for it, and also the community page telling you all about the astrology posts. You can find all of that as April rolls in, and also you can subscribe and hit the bell so you will be notified for that, so you don't have to keep watch, right? So yes, and if you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box and the comment below. I will see you some other time. Have a great month. Take care. Bye.